time before.
It's your birthday. What's on our mind, what we're talking about, what we're feeling, is what's happening in Tunis, Yemen, Cairo, Alexandria.
Yes, tell it. Amen.
It is so remarkable.
Right, it is.
What those folks must be imagining, believing in their belief, as they run towards Liberation Square to liberate it, finally, of its own lying rhetoric, to remake that word, to bring new meaning to it. It's just putting a spring in everybody's step, isn't it?
Yes.
We're finding it informing little things that we do in the course of our day. And it's making the news, for once, a pleasure.
Wow.
And that hasn't happened a lot.
No,
To us, has it? Actually going in the morning to get the paper, turning on the BBC, really looking forward to it. Kind of getting the journalist out of the way, because they're so badly trained. They always ask about the violence. What can we say is happening in terms of people being hurt or killed? Let's try to get a body count here. And that's the first thing. They try to get that tabloid headline. And then the second thing they'll go to really quickly, even the people with the beautiful accents on BBC, they'll go right away to, well, what about the extremist religious elements? The extremists. So it's blood and gore, or it's mad Muslims. And they try to just go to that George Bush and 9/11 place. It's amazing.
Try Al Jazeera.
Somebody, go to Al Jazeera. Stream it, baby.
There you go.
Hallelujah. Here's Al right here.
Wait. Al Jazeera.
But if you can work through the habitual bad journalism and get to what the people are saying, just what they're saying, how they're reporting, how they're struggling with a description of this upwelling in their souls. One time I was standing in a bar, actually. It was a saloon.
Oh,
and had a little Jesus blood there right in front of me. A private communion, before getting on the F train. And there was one of those networks. I get them mixed up now. But there was a man there who looked a little like the old actor Jimmy Stewart. He was Brian something. And he was the network anchor. You could tell by his attitude there and the shape of the furniture around him. And he had just talked to somebody. This was earlier. This was in Tunisia. He just had talked to somebody on the ground there. And hallelujah, this Apple computer. Kind of a Pavlovian response. Check the email. And he was saying, some of these people are younger than the dictators that have been in power. But somehow they remember freedom. They remember dignity. And it's in them. It's in their bodies. It's in now he didn't say bodies. That wouldn't be right on the network. Maybe he said in their psychological makeup or something. He wouldn't go right to the flesh. But he was struggling with the notion. And it reminded me, I was thinking, here's a guy that makes $2 million a year. And I was just thinking, how difficult it is for public figures from our culture to remember that this must have been something like the feeling that we had when we founded our country. Something like the feeling when slavery was abolished, something like the feeling when labor and women, some of these movements that we take for granted and walk around inside, the civil rights movement, we walk around inside these freedoms, and we have ourselves, we ought to have a whole language, a whole readiness to, but we've been financing their oppressors.
Yes.
So of course we don't quite have the words. We kind of hesitate to talk straightforwardly. We're kind of amazed at them. They're almost like religious, they're spiritual, they're angels. They're, oh my God, you remember how to be free. Despite the fact that our tax money has been financing the impossibility of your being free. I'm sorry? Forgive me. Watch out.